Hey guys, Lawrence here for Nightbringer Fitness, coming at you from Croquet, lovely calisthenics studio, which has been open for just over a year now. And I wanted to give some clarity on the question of how long does it take to achieve the muscle up, because this is probably the most common question in calisthenics that I get asked, and specifically about the muscle up. So I hope to provide some clarity on that, some realistic answers and time frames as well. So whenever someone asks me this, my immediate response is, how often are you willing to train per week? Because it's not an exactly linear system of you get out what you put in, you get out what you put in, but it kind of does work that way, right? In terms of how often per week are you willing to get into the gym, the park, the bar at home, whatever it might be, and actually perform the movements and the routines necessary to work towards this outcome goal of getting the muscle up. And as a bit more of a, I guess, specific point to that, we all have different starting points from where we're working on. So if I want to travel to Los Angeles and someone says, how long is it going to take? It's like, well, are you starting from London? Are you starting from Chicago? Are you starting from Moscow? Okay, they're all going to take very different amounts of time, and it's the same if you're starting from 0 pull-ups to 5 to 10. That's a very obvious statement, right? But I do want to kind of bring that home a little bit. So as a specific example, I'll give some time frames for myself, some students as well. So from 0 pull-ups to my first body weight muscle up, not 100% clean, but the first time I got on top of the bar without the band assistance, that was pretty much bang on a year and a half for me, from the first day of starting training. And I can say I was pretty consistent from the get-go. It wasn't like, I'm kind of going to the gym on and off. I started from nothing and then pretty much went straight into, I'm doing this, 5-6 days a week type of thing, from 0 pull-ups to that. Another student of mine got it in 2 weeks, but that was from being able to do a solid number of pull-ups between about 10 to 15. So it's a little bit more of a technique thing rather than a strength thing for him. And then another student got it in 4 months from starting on roughly, I would say, between 3 to 5 pull-ups and stuff from there. So that's some realistic time frames. But I want to kind of add a meta answer into this and ultimately say, who cares how long it takes if you want the movement? Because being realistic in this, it's a hard thing to do. If you imagine, if you're going to a gym or a local park, how many people do you know who are doing strict muscle ups for multiple reps per set? Even getting on top of the bar in itself, with kip or anything like that, it's a fantastic achievement. I can certainly remember my first muscle up. It's one of my proudest moments. Unfortunately, no one was around to share that with me. It was about 8 o'clock at night in the park in February in England. Certainly, no one was, down there training. It's a bit of a crazy time to train. It was very cold. But the point is, let's say if you'd have told me from day one that it was going to take 18 months, I had certainly plans to train for the rest of my life, and I was a fairly young guy. I was about 24 at the time. And I would say to you, even if you're starting from, not being able to do your first pull-up yet, well, if you're planning on training for more than, say, 18 months of your life, is it going to be worth it? I hope so, most likely. These are hard, difficult movements for the majority of people to attain. Even people who are going to the gym, if you think of your average gym, not even like a calisthenics setting, how many people are really going up on top of the bar with strict reps, and again doing that for multiple sets? Not many people, because this is a hard thing, and not many people are willing to train that specifically to one particular thing for that amount of time. And you could say, it's an immediate gratification thing, and people are impatient. Whatever it is, people just, are willing to put that kind of work in, which is also okay. All right. Now, for an example, for me, I go running once a week, and when I talked about the analogy of how much time are you willing per week to put into your training towards that specific move, running once per week is not going to start shaving blocks of 10 seconds off my 5k or my 10k, right? I do it because I enjoy it and it's a bit of fun. Same as I enjoy sketching for a hobby, but I don't do it enough to get better at it. I pick up the pencil and paper every once in a while. I'm not going to drastically be improving my technique and my skills by doing it that much, which is why my first response is when someone says to me, how long is it going to take me to attain the muscle up, is how often are you willing to train it per week? Are you willing to do it 2-3 times per week? Because we've all got different opinions on, the split, and that's not what I'm here for. But the idea of what kind of frequency are you willing to put in, and be specific about it. Say, okay, I'm going to train it twice a week until it happens. Not, and I just want to reiterate. I don't think I've actually covered this point yet, but kind of abandoning any time-based goals of, I want to get it before Christmas, or I want to get it before my holiday, or I want to get it before I'm 30, or before my next birthday, or whatever it might be. Because it's like, why? Why does it really matter? Like, why put this kind of time-based pressure on yourself? Where is it really going to produce the best work? Could you honestly say, like, okay, if I've got 2 months to do it before Christmas, whatever it might be, and you're at a stage where the reps just aren't where they need to be, and the technique isn't where it needs to be at the moment, why have this idea that it needs to be done in a certain time? Why not just take as long as it takes to do it with the best form possible and just enjoy the process of doing it? Because I can guarantee, and people say, oh, it's all about the journey, it's not about the destination. Well, something's about the destination. If I'm training towards a muscle up, I'd quite like to have the destination of actually unlocking the muscle up. So at least some of it is about the destination. Just like if I'm flying to the Maldives, I hopefully want to get there. It is about the destination, not just how amazing the flight is with 500 films to watch and all the leg room and that type of stuff. It's about the destination as well, which is fair enough. So I'd say abandon any time frame constraints on that. And that is my ultimate answer, because who cares? It doesn't really matter. If you want to get this move, then train towards it with a certain frequency, whether that's 2-3 times a week. The reason I don't say once a week is it's not really a high enough frequency to give the body clear instructions to get better at those sort of movement patterns. So just ask yourself, okay, the body loves clear instructions. Am I giving my body clear instructions of get better at this on a weekly basis, and a twice a week basis, and a 3 times a week basis? I'm not necessarily here to discuss splits and the technical stuff of that, but the ultimate answer I'm going to give you is, does it matter? If you want it, and the average life expectancy here in the UK, I think at the moment, is 83, and let's say it's going to take you 18 months to get the muscle up if you're starting from point zero, like me, into the year and a half. Well, as long as you're not 81, the math says you've got a couple of years ahead of you, so who cares if it takes that amount of time? Again, these moves are difficult. Not many people can do them, which is why it's so rewarding when you do get on top of the bar. So I don't mean to be this some like disheartening answer, like who cares, it takes as long as it takes, but it's kind of true. And it is going to take a pretty high level of just going, okay, there's going to be days where it goes down a little bit in your ability, days where it goes up a fair bit, and then like an average in between, and look at your average ability and just say, okay, I'm slowly seeing my progress over time. So I realise I've given you like an extremely long answer to the simple question of how long is it going to take me to get a muscle up, but the short answer is, if you are determined enough to say, okay, I want this, then the answer is as long as it takes. As long as you keep training it with a 2-3 times per week frequency towards that thing, and obviously, with the best techniques you can and doing the right sort of movements, it's going to happen. But I would really, really say again, excuse me, I lost my ability to speak English, as we can see, abandon time-based constraints, because they do not matter. If you're planning on training for the rest of your life, and hopefully I am, I've got many more things to learn about calisthenics, the activity that I love, many more movements to do, many more movements to train, and time is on your hands. Yes, we will have a limited lifespan, but there's no reason where it's like, oh, I've got to unlock this in the next 8 weeks, or else, don't worry about that kind of stuff. So I hope it's been a long answer, but I hope it's given you some kind of clarity in terms of what to do next and abandoning these kind of constraints. Guys, speak soon.